From our Main Street newsroom, this is 2 News Live at 3:30.
Summer tourism in southern Utah, how drought and wildfires have changed everything for families and businesses in the area. And how about some good news? BYU's Cosmo makes history. We're live with one of the most iconic faces behind the cougar mask. On a not so pleasant note, maggots and roaches found at an airline catering facility. This is near LAX. How many cities were exposed, and if you maybe got some of that food on your plane. Thanks for joining us for 2 News Live at 3:30 today. Brian Schneezoff, I'm Heidi Hatch. Glad you're with us. We start with breaking news. Very sad news coming from the Widemouth 2 fire in central Utah today, where we now know a helicopter that was working on those firefighting efforts went down in the area of Richfield around 10 o'clock this morning. The FAA has confirmed that the chopper went down, but very little information confirmed beyond that. This is a map of the area where this fire is burning. Kanosh and Fillmore kind of on either end of this fire. It's been moving to the north and to the east. We do believe this crash happened near a reservoir again at 10 o'clock this morning. It was a Sikorsky S-64 helicopter. It's known for one of those helicopters when you see them in the sky, if they have like kind of a middle piece of the plane missing. As you can see in this photo we've got on the screen, and you can see the hose that goes down. They use that to suck the water up from the reservoir and dump it on the fires. At this point, we do know that 2 crew members were on that helicopter this morning when it went down. At this point, people who are working the fire and the fire teams have not confirmed any information on search and rescue efforts, any injuries, survival at this point. But again, this happened at 10 o'clock this morning and still waiting to get more information. As you know, we've been dealing with a very difficult fire year here in Utah. There were 3 fire deaths on the Utah-Colorado border just a couple of weeks ago with a huge fire there. The Widemouth 2 fire, now more than 100,000 acres, and probably in the next couple of days will be the summer's largest fire here in the state of Utah. We're going to continue following this as we do throughout the day with the latest developments. The photos we were showing you just a few minutes ago on screen, though, those photos taken earlier in the week of the helicopter that now has been confirmed by the tail numbers to have gone down again on the fire line this morning at 10 o'clock this morning. As soon as we get more information, we will bring it to you. We want to keep talking fires right now, and in Beaver County, the Cottonwood fire and the continuing mudslides afterwards have been making news for good reason. There are huge problems for a lot of people in the area. Sam is there for us today, talking to businesses, homeowners about what it's doing for the economy. A lot of them depend on the summer months and vacationers, and also in the wintertime, people coming to ski, and a lot of that's changing right now.
That's right. I spoke with one business in particular today called Sherwood Forest. It's a gift shop right on Main Street, and he said that about 90% of his customers are usually tourists, and so ever since the Cottonwood fire, he said it's really unsure whether to know that the crowds are coming or not, whether he can count on them. He said he's noticed a significant dip in customers during the weekdays especially. He mentioned that Fridays he usually has a couple people walking around, but instead it's very quiet in his shop. Now his shop is just one of many that are affected. There was the boil order that caused many restaurants to have to shut down temporarily. Now there's an irrigation shutoff that's made the golf course locally say that they're not going to take any golf carts on their golf course starting next week. Now the Minersville Reservoir normally brings some people out, but they're dealing with fish who are dying. The ski resort announced that they are going to close for the winter. So it's a lot of areas that are really hit and unknown whether crowds are going to continue to come as they battle this recovery for the next few years.
It's going to be a long road for them. As you're talking to people, I'm sure that there's some businesses that are just trying to get back on their feet again and are not open, but are other businesses opening and asking people, if you're driving south on I-15 or north in the other direction, to stop and give them your business?
Absolutely. So the Sherwood Forest told me that he thinks the areas that are really at risk are Main Street, where you have to go into the city, but he said that those on the outskirts of town, right off of I-15, seem to be doing well, and he's hoping that destination spots will make people stop in Beaver and explore more of the town. Some of those he mentioned were the pawn shop, the courthouse museum, the creamery. I actually stopped by the creamery on my way down I-15 yesterday because it's such a great spot. So hopefully businesses like that people have loved for years will make more people come to Beaver.
Absolutely. A long road ahead for them. All our best to those businesses and families as they get back on their feet again. Samantha Hoffman has been covering the fires for us for weeks now there in central and southern Utah. Samantha, thank you. In other news today, scientists have artificial intelligence to create 16 new viruses. Why we're using AI to do this, I have absolutely no clue. But it's a notable scientific milestone as scientists are racing to combat rising drug resistance with germs. Tests showed that some of the manufactured viruses could overcome antibacterial resistance in some E. coli strains. The viruses, they say, don't pose a threat to people because they're only able to infect other bacteria. We do hope that to be the case. But the study adds to concerns that AI could someday lead to the creation of new biological weapons. In other news, Chipotle right now announcing it's pulled all of the jalapenos from their menus and restaurants after they were linked to a suspected salmonella outbreak. Chipotle says they replaced them with jalapenos from different growers at this point. The state's health department reporting 110 salmonella cases statewide. A majority of these cases reported eating at Chipotle between mid-June and July. The others have reported eating at other Mexican restaurants. Health officials and the FDA are investigating right now. This is the latest foodborne illness outbreak to be reported this summer. If you're like me, you've got jalapenos growing in the garden and a safe place to get them from. Also, not very pleasant to talk about. Workers at an airline catering facility near Los Angeles International Airport, they're raising alarms about alleged unsanitary conditions. And this is pretty nasty. A union representing employees at Flying Food Group has now filed a safety complaint urging state inspectors to investigate. It alleges that workers have observed cockroaches around the food, other vermin in food preparation areas and near airline food carts. One employee said she opened dish carts to find decomposing food covered in what appeared to be mold, maggots, and flies. She claims a supervisor ordered her to clean the dishes for reuse on an upcoming flight. Flying Food Group says it's reviewing the allegations and cooperating with regulators. That is nasty. It does bring me flashbacks, though, to when I used to work for Delta cleaning their planes when I was in high school. And the best thing was when you got on the plane, if people hadn't touched their meals and there was cheesecake in first class, we got to eat the cheesecake.
Yum.
I know, good times.
This is why I never leave and go
anywhere, right?
That's right.
Just don't think about it.
That's right.
Sterling's here and talking weather for us today. We're still talking heat and smoke.
Yeah, heat and smoke, and we're tracking a few storms again this afternoon, although they're a little bit farther north today than they were yesterday. You can see we've got some storms up here just to the right along the Utah-Nevada border around Cedar City. We've got plenty of storm activity there and up over the higher elevations, and that's going to continue all the way up towards Beaver. And it would be nice if we could get some nice rain in the Beaver area and up towards Richfield and up where the Widemouth 2 fire is. But right now it looks like most of this activity is over the higher elevations. It's probably going to die off at sunset tonight. Plus we have unhealthy for sensitive groups for our air quality mandatory action. That means drive less if you can, reduce the amount of pollution we put into the air. We really can't do anything about the smoke, but check your air filters and your furnaces and whatnot. Make sure you're breathing clean air in the house, and that would be a very nice thing to have as well. So Heidi, it looks like we're going to continue to really the same weather pattern we've had for the last several days. And there is a change coming, possibly by the end of this week. We should see more moisture moving into the state. And so between about the 14th and the 21st of August, we should maybe run into a wet period. We'll try to track that, and hopefully no major flash flooding, but that's definitely in the forecast.
And that's the big deal, is getting enough rain that helps the fires, but not so much that we get mudslides as well.
And in the summertime, it's hard to get a thunderstorm that's not going to put down a bunch of rain. So we have to be careful and stay out of the slot canyons, and we'll update you as we get closer.
All right, Sterling's going to be here all night long for those weather updates. Sterling, thank you. Well, we have something fun to talk about. If you follow sports, we know that you follow BYU football. And if you don't follow BYU football, you at least follow the halftime fun and Cosmo. And here's the great news. Cosmo inducted into the Hall of Fame today, which is huge news and fun news. Now, a lot of you, if you weren't following along with Cosmo over the years, probably started following in the teen years. Why? Specifically because of Charlie Bird, the man who launched Cosmo to stardom. If you saw him dancing on the football field with cheerleaders and dancers, you know what I'm talking about. He is joining us live to talk about this big moment today. Thanks so much for joining us, Charlie.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So I didn't even know there was a Hall of Fame, but if there is a Hall of Fame, you always want to be in it. Is it something that you ever thought about while you were playing the role?
You know, not really. This is a really exciting time, not only for BYU fans, but also for everyone who's had a role in making Cosmo who he is today. And I think when you're in the role of the mascot, all you're focused on is just bringing energy to the game, interacting with fans, and not getting hurt. So the Hall of Fame just feels like a conglomeration of all those small moments across generations of students and decades of people working on this mascot character. And it's really cool to see that legacy being recognized.
So tell me what years that you played the role of Cosmo, and when you were Cosmo, were there other Cosmos at the same time because there's so many events to be at, or when you're there, you're it and you're always on?
Well, you know, a mascot has to keep his secrets. But I was the role of Cosmo from 2015 through 2018, so about 3.5 years, and they were some of the best years of my college experience.
Awesome. So when people saw you dancing there, I think a lot of times people are used to their mascots being kind of fun and goofy, but I don't think people, until you were down there on the field dancing step by step with the dancers, realizing that they could be really good at what they did too. Was this something you thought up, or how did this all happen?
The dance, yeah, that was my idea. I've always loved dancing and been a pretty good dancer. And I was just, who doesn't love the Cougarettes? And what a dream to be able to dance with those incredible dancers. But I think the way that Cosmo was able to do that was standing on the backs of giants. There's been changes to the suit throughout decades that have made it a little bit more agile, more mobile, adding people who learned how to do tricks with that heavy head on, and just like, really, like I said, a culmination of all these little moments that really turned Cosmo's character into something that broke barriers and went super viral, and now it's become this like worldwide fan favorite.
So essentially, it sounds like you had a spacesuit that got a little bit easier to use over the years. One last question before we let you go. If they let alumni come back, would you take the chance and go be Cosmo again, or are those days long in the rearview mirror for you?
You know, I loved it so much, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would probably have to train a little bit, drink a little more water. I was in really good shape back when I was doing it because you're sweating a lot. But yeah, why not? You got to take that opportunity if it ever comes up.
I love it. Well, you were amazing, and I feel like if you were ever back in the suit again, we would know that it was you, even though we didn't know, we'd know from the move. So great stuff. Congratulations on helping launch Cosmo to stardom.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a great day. More news to talk about here on 2 News Live at 3:30. In a record milestone for healthcare, Huntsman Cancer Institute has performed now the Mountain West's first robotic mastectomy. The procedure uses a small incision, they say, and may mean less visible scarring and a faster recovery for some breast cancer patients. So that is a huge step there at the Huntsman Cancer Institute. Also in the news today, it is back to school season, and Jordan School District is kicking off the new school year, they say, by welcoming about 200 brand new teachers with surprise celebration. It all happened in South Jordan at Bingham High School today. The event is designed to give new educators a big send-off as they begin their first year in the classroom. My sister's a teacher in the Granite School District. I know she's in there with a lot of other teachers trying to get their rooms ready to go for the new school year. Well, coming up next, dozens of fans left Redview Garden disappointed. We're finding out why, what happened, and who's not showing up. Welcome back. We are checking with our digital team this afternoon to see what exactly people are clicking online and most excited to read about. Aubrey's joining us right now with what people are looking at.
Yeah, we have a lot of great content on our website, but I chose a couple of kind of fun pieces for this Friday.
Nice.
First, we have these simple ways to keep families connected during the back-to-school season, which we know is right around the corner. So if you want to watch this video, feel free to do so. I will give you kind of a bit of information. They mostly talk about family dinners and making the most of the small things. So I think those are good pieces of advice.
Yeah, back to the basics.
Exactly. And if you're curious about when your county or your school district goes back to school, we have this massive article with every single school district starting time. The first starts around Wednesday, this next Wednesday.
That seems so soon.
I know, which is crazy. And then some will be as late as August 31st.
All right, and this year, Labor Day, if you haven't looked at the calendar, some school districts tried to wait for Labor Day, but I think Labor Day this year is September 7th, so I think most kids are going back long before that happens. And so if you've been seeing back-to-school supplies in your stores, you know why. Kids are heading back in just a few days. So back to school is a big one people are looking at online. What other fun things are people clicking on?
Yes, this is one of my favorites. It's actually a photo gallery of something that happened this morning and will happen again tomorrow morning, and that is Sandy's Hot Air Balloon Festival. It's an annual event, but they had a record-setting 17 hot air balloons, and they set them all off. Here's a couple, let me show you. You have some really creative balloons, and if you're an early riser, you can get there by sunrise tomorrow.
Yeah, they're gorgeous, and I know when it's the heat of the summertime, they need to get there when it's a little cooler in the morning, so that hotter will actually rise, so they're awesome. Yeah, beautiful balloons out there, and you said it goes through tomorrow. Does it go to... Oh, wait, tomorrow is Saturday.
Yes.
Whew, today's Friday. I was thinking it was Thursday. It's always a nice surprise when you're all the way through your work week. So Saturday morning, rise and shine early. You can get out there and still see them.
And if you're not an early riser, I recommend watching this video we have up on YouTube. It'll show you kind of what it looks like if you were there. Annika Johns was there this morning and captured some great visuals.
Gorgeous, and it looks like lots of families getting that final family fun in before the school year starts. I think a lot of people are ready to get back to a little organized schedule. So,
I think so too.
Thank you so much. As always, you can see our latest stories on KUTV.com and also on our YouTube channel as well. Talking about a few of the issues that we see you guys talking about online, and looking at this gorgeous picture of Lake Powell. A lot of families getting their final trips into Lake Powell and Bear Lake before the school year starts. But one of the issues people are talking about right now are sinking boats at Lake Powell. A recent photo shows that a sunken houseboat was being recovered from the water. I actually saw a warning that there would be a ramp shutdown for a few hours this weekend as they recovered another boat as well. One Facebook user was asking about this, specifically saying why a 75-foot plus multi-million-dollar boat should not be sinking, they say, at Lake Powell. Yeah, the storms can get wild, but they shouldn't be able to sink those types of boats. That was Sunny online on Facebook. Now, interestingly enough, I always am working on stories behind the scenes, and I don't always get answers. But about a week ago, I saw a couple people post videos about their family members who were at Lake Powell when a big storm whipped up. They said that they were asleep on their boats at the time. A lot of people sleep on the top of their boat at Lake Powell. And the storm was so bad, the boat was tipping back and forth. People were actually injured. Things were thrown around inside the boat. And that possibly 7 to 10 boats sunk during that storm. So still working to confirm and talk to some of those families. Have seen some comments about that online, but it certainly does happen on the lake, and obviously not a good thing. We're asking a few questions, and when we get those answers, we'll try to bring them to you next week here when Brian's back on 2 News live at 3:30. Another one, concert season in the summertime. A lot of people are heading up to Red Butte Gardens for the concerts there. A lot of times people get tickets because there's one specific group they want to see. And a Sugar concert apparently was the hot ticket item for a lot of people. It was canceled at Red Butte Garden, and a lot of people are questioning exactly why. Fans say the venue did not provide a specific reason for the cancellation. There were no announcements online from people saying from the artist. One person here who was anonymous said, "I bought a garden membership this year for this specific show, and now I am heartbroken." That usually means bad ticket sales. Another person says, no one wants to play to an empty venue. What happened? It's hard to say. A lot of times artists, when they cancel shows, you'll see an announcement on their official channels, Instagram or Facebook, saying they're sick and they're really sorry and they'll reschedule. But in this case, that has not happened. Another disappointment is happening on a family farm, and apparently there is a fruit thief out there. This is happening in southern Utah and Washington County. A farmer there posted a picture online asking people to look at the photo and try to figure out if they know who it is. There was someone with a headlamp on in the middle of the night picking peaches from their farm. One person says that is stealing and a crime in more ways than one. He's trespassing. Hope they catch him. Now, the farm says that a trail camera caught someone stealing those peaches in the early morning hours. Owners there obviously say that they see this more often than they'd like to see. They say that people often go inside their orchards to have great photo shoots for Instagram, or even families go in there and start picking the peaches themselves. You're looking at the photo right now of this person who was captured with that headlamp on doing the picking. They say if you know who it is, to let them know. We'll post all the information on our social media channels so you can see that as well. As always, 2 News is listening to you. If you have comments you want us to know about, you can certainly get in touch with us. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. 2 News is always listening, and we will be right back with the latest breaking news when we return.